This episode is free. You can get weekly episodes, smiley bonuses, and the whole back catalogue of Truly Madly Smiley when you buy a backstage pass today. Yours is waiting for you over at smileyforlife.com. Now, without further delay, let's crack on with today's free episode.
Episode 71. The one with the worried Wildhearts.
Hey! Hello, I'm Lisa. Welcome to Truly Madly Smiley, the popular podcast for busy Wildhearts who are curious, creative, and on a mission to find their own kind of happy. Have we met before? I'm sometimes called the Smiley Coach. But really, I'm more of a smile-spreading, storytelling, magic-making, daydreaming, lifelong learning, rain-loving, wise, sensitive Wildheart. Got that? And I want nothing more than to see you smile. Yes! You won't find happiness out there. It lives inside of you. So it's time. It's your time. Pop in your earbuds, place your hand on your heart, take a deep breath in and smile. Are you ready? That's it. Let's begin.
Hello everyone, Smiley here. Welcome back to Truly Madly Smiley. I have another episode especially for you. Today's episode is all about you. I want to know if you're a Wildheart. Do you think you might be? I think you are. You probably are if you're listening to this. I'm one. I'm a proud Wildheart. I'm proud to be strong-willed, determined, sensitive, big-hearted, kind, wise. Do any of those things ring true for you? Well, before we get started, I want to welcome in the new listeners. Always welcoming the new people, making them feel included, making sure they feel at home. I want to remind you that if you are new here, there are some fun free printables and a guide that tells you all about Truly Madly Smiley. I want to make sure that we all know how things work around here so we can get the most from our listening time, our time spending time and hanging out together. Because that way you're going to learn all the secrets to feeling happy and then you can be your best self. That's what we're here for, isn't it? And for those of you that are regular listeners to the show, have you thought about joining as a member? Let me see if I can tempt you to become a member by telling you about all the really cool things that we've been doing these past few months. So in the past few months, members of Truly Madly Smiley have been learning about how to make good decisions. They've been learning how to get relaxed and ready for sleep. That's a new bonus episode that I've made. How to feel confident by using your powerful voice. And that's good for those of us that don't like speaking up in class or being on stage. We've been having fun doing that in the BVB, the Big Voice Bathroom. Oh, that was a bit of a croaky voice. Actually, I've been really poorly for about 10 days. So my voice isn't, I might sound a little bit bunged up still, but I'm better now, but I have been poorly. I don't think it was corona, by the way, if you're wondering. Yes, in the Big Voice Bathroom, we gargle and sing and say things to ourselves in front of the mirror. And it's easy, but we get more and more confident. We've been learning about different crystals and how they can help us, so the energy of crystals. We've been remembering to be kind to ourselves. So instead of letting that mean girl voice take over or tell us that we're rubbish, we've been replacing that with a kinder, more gentle voice. And we've been learning how to deal with people who are not very kind to us. So there's lots going on, and I add 2 new episodes just for members every month. Sometimes I add more because I have so many ideas. I've got such a busy butterfly brain. That's another thing that you have if you're a Wildheart. You've got a really curious brain, a mind that wants to think all the time and work stuff out and loves learning, not always at school, but loves to learn new things. Oh, I'm giving it all away now, aren't I? But I'd really love for you to join us today because you can unlock all the episodes. This is episode 71. So there's a lot of episodes for you to get your teeth into. Oh, no, you don't get your teeth into them. Get your ears into. And you can also get a printable journal and a shout out from me on the next episode. So I'll put a link to the show notes for you to get all the details. Come and sign up today and be part of our crew, our Wildheart crew. Which reminds me, this month I'd like to give a big shout out to Erin and Luke. Hello over there. Hey, you two. I'm so glad you're here, and I really hope you're enjoying learning with me all the new things about yourself and the world and your place in it. And if you've got any questions, head on over to smileyforlife.com/question and write to me. You guys can do that as well if you want to. If you've got something that's on your mind, on your butterfly brain, on your busy mind, I want to help you. That's what I'm here for, really. I am your front, your friendly aunt, your Wildheart front. I'm here to help. So back to today's episode. I think you are a Wildheart. Do you? Are you starting to think that you might be? And I wrote Truly Madly Smiley for Wildhearts because when I was growing up, I felt a bit lost and left out, and I felt different, but I didn't feel good different. I felt wrong and bad different. I felt like I didn't fit in, and that was quite lonely sometimes, you know? I used to disappear into my thoughts a lot and daydream a lot, and I created a little world inside my mind where I could hang out. I think if you've got a good imagination, it's easy to go and hang out in that space. And in Truly Madly Smiley, we do a lot of using our imagination for good so that the worries don't kick in and make us feel icky. So I was a big worrier, and I really want to help other Wildhearts understand themselves and know that there's nothing wrong with them or bad with them. It's just understanding how you work, you know, how you bring yourself to the world, and you're fine just the way you are. You're more than fine. You're a wonderful Wildheart, because we're all messy humans trying to work out this thing called life. And, you know, nobody has got it sussed and sorted. And people who look like they do, well, I'm quite suspicious of them, because every single one of us is here to learn something. There's things that we don't know. We've got things to overcome and things to understand. Because do you ever think that the world that we live in is a bit crazy sometimes? I mean, not corona crazy. Before the coronavirus started, way before that, I think life got too busy, too noisy, and it can feel really out of control, and it feels like it's too much sometimes. You know, like we're rushing around trying to pack everything in, and we really need to slow down. I mean, what is the rush? Where's the race? What are we running towards? What happens when we reach the finish line? Where is the finish line? Do we get a medal or a treat when we get to the end? No, of course we don't. So slow down and enjoy life. Don't run through it 150 miles an hour. One thing I have learned as a grown-up Wildheart is that making time to be with myself and getting away from all that noise definitely makes me happier. But I see lots of children who aren't allowed to do that because their families are noisy and busy and they haven't got anywhere to go and be quiet, or their classrooms are busy. So if you're a teacher listening to this, do you have a space in the classroom? Not somewhere where you send people because they're being distractive, but a place where they can go, a thinking chair or a thinking corner or a calm corner where there's like space to just be, because classrooms can get really noisy and busy. But I see lots of children who also don't like being on their own. They tell me that they're bored, and you know, bored isn't a bad thing, and we talk about that in episode 40 and episode 45, because what we don't realise is having time and space with nothing to do is what makes you creative, wise, independent, resourceful, deep, thoughtful, imaginative, sharp, focused, determined, motivated. Yes, all of those things. And why would you not want to be those things? And I know that you'd rather be on your screens, right? Because I love them too. And I like hanging out on my screens. But I promise you that if you do that too much, your brain will turn to mashed potato. We talked about that in episode 14, the one with the frozen planet. So check that one out if you haven't listened to it yet. So I wrote my book Stuck Between Two Worlds for Wildhearts as well, because you do feel like you are stuck sometimes, because you feel like, I don't know whether if you feel like you don't belong in the world, but then people can't come and meet you in your world, and you feel like people don't really understand you, and you want to be with those people because you love them, but then you also want to be loyal to yourself or be with other people who are like you. So it's like there's two different worlds. And wouldn't it be nice if you could just be yourself and you don't have to worry about what other people think or doing the wrong thing? And I don't know, I think we all worry about what people think about us, and we all want to do things right and do our very best. So let me tell you, what is a wild heart? In the book, I describe a wild heart like this. A wild heart is a strong-willed, sensitive child that is in tune with their feelings and the feelings of others. They have a big heart full of love. They are also a creative change maker that leads from the heart with fiery courage and steely determination. Does that sound like you? In my book, Stuck Between Two Worlds, there are 10 wild hearts and they all have something in common. I wonder if you can guess what it is. It's what I just said. They all feel left out or like they don't belong for one reason or another. So let me explain a bit more. In my book, Stuck Between Two Worlds, they go to a place called the wilderness. And this is like a stunning place of beauty, which is very different from living on Earth. It's peaceful and calm, and they can just hang out with each other and be themselves. They are wild and free. You guys tell me a lot about the fact that school doesn't feel like you're free. And I get that, because there's timetables and there's so many things to do and so many boxes to tick. And yeah, that doesn't work for lots of us. We really want to be free to be ourselves, and we want learning to be fun, and we want learning to be like an adventure, and that we can explore and experience it. And sometimes in a classroom we can't learn that way, and that's just who we are. So what I thought I'd do today is introduce you to each wild heart. And as we go through and I describe each one, I want you to listen and see which one feels most like you. Do you fancy having a go at that? I think it's really good to see ourselves in other people, because it helps us realise that we're not alone with our struggle. And each wild heart is overcoming a really tricky part of their life. Because life is like that, isn't it? It's a lot of endings and beginnings, like the chapters of a book, all sewn together to form the book of your life. And in my book, in Stuck Between Two Worlds, the Wildhearts have gold books and they have rainbow books. So the gold books are all their life lessons and all the things that they learn along the way. And they're private and they're not for anyone else to nose in. And then there are rainbow books that are for all their wild heart wishes, the things that they really want to happen in their life. So that's quite a good way to look at it. And each wild heart is very sensitive, and they can feel the energy in a room like a sponge. You know, they suck it all up, or like Velcro. You know, that sticky stuff that you get on your trainers that makes a noise. They're like that. And actually, in the last episode 70, I did an energy clearing exercise for you so that you don't have to get caught up in other people's energy and other people's emotions, because that can be too much for you. You're not meant to take on their stuff. And that does happen quite a lot when you're a sensitive person. So it's important that you know how to protect your energy and how to clean it. And in the bonus episode, 10 Days of Smiley Self-Care, I teach you how to protect your energy. So today we're going to meet 10 highly sensitive souls with big hearts and personalities, wild hearts. They're super stressed by modern day life, and they're searching for peace, friendship and fun. And maybe we could chuck freedom into the mix, because we've talked about that today. So the first wild heart I want you to meet is Ruby. Now, Ruby is a sensitive empath. So an empath is someone that has lots and lots of empathy. So you can not just put yourself in someone else's shoes, but you can actually take on their energy. And that's why it all gets really busy and stressful. Ruby can't sleep. She's 9.5 years old as she's born on Valentine's Day, and she's very restless and she's super aware of what's going on around her. Like she's got a detective brain. She notices everything. And her curious detective brain doesn't ever stop thinking. And she wishes that she had an off switch for her brain. That's what she says in the book. Because she's so fed up and tired by all of the thoughts that are rattling around in her head. She's terrified of the dark and making mistakes. Her family are plagued by secrets and drama. And she loves cheese, the rain, and she is a massive bookworm. So maybe you can see yourself in Ruby. Ruby's the main character in the book. We call her the protagonist. She is the one that's going on the adventure to discover herself. And the book starts off where she's alone in her room crying. And Nettie, let's just meet Nettie quickly. She's not a wild heart, but Nettie is there to help her. Nettie is the queen of the wild hearts, and she protects Mother Earth and lives in the Nook. Ruby gets to go and hang out with her in the Nook. She has a crystal wand and drinks rose petal tea. Her superpower is love. She guides lost souls to the wilderness where they have fun and are free to be their true selves without judgment or fear. Oh, we all need a Nettie in our lives, don't we? Do you have a Nettie in your life? Maybe it's a friend or an auntie or a mum or a dad or a nice teacher. And perhaps you've got more than one Nettie in your life. But Nettie appears one day and takes Ruby off to the wilderness. And that's where they meet all the other wild hearts. So let's meet the others. Who should we meet next? Let's meet Cam. Cam is fun-loving and full of energy. His body is so full of feelings that he cannot sit still. It's like he's got ants in his pants. And he was mercilessly teased for crying. So really badly teased for crying. But he holds it all inside. He is forever curious and eager to learn. And he asks questions. He says why to everything. But he doesn't like school. And he absolutely hates homework. So do you think you're like Cam? Can you see yourself in Cam? I can see a bit of myself in him. We might see a bit of ourselves in each one. Who shall we meet next? Let's meet Robin. She is timid and she takes time to warm up. She doesn't like big crowds, noise, or angry people. She hates talking in front of the class and she doesn't like arguments. She can't get angry, but she cries a lot. She has a big heart and she loves animals, especially rabbits. Oh, can you see yourself in there? If you want to, maybe you could write down the parts of yourself that you see in each wild heart. And then if you wanted to get the book, you could follow their adventure, because as they all go on adventure together, you find out more about their stories and how they overcome their fears and challenges. So who should we meet next? Let me see now. Now let's meet JB. JB was adopted and he finds it really hard to relax and feel safe with people. He finds it hard to trust people. He's also a swapsy. Oh my goodness, now I've got to tell you what a swapsy is, haven't I? Hang on, let me just grab my book and read to you what a swapsy is. A swapsy, a swapsy. Try and say that. That's a hard word to say. A swapsy is a soul that crosses over to the wilderness. Have you seen the Disney film Soul? Because it struggles to be happy in the family it is born into. The family and friends do not know this has happened because the physical body doesn't change. It's only the soul that is swapped. His physical body stayed with his family on Earth, and his soul left his body and went to the wilderness. But once you've done a swapsy, you can't go back. So that's really interesting hearing his story. he completed a soul exchange so he could stay in the wilderness. So he became a swapsy so that he could leave his family. And he is Nettie's helper, and he drives the boat from Swift's Bay to the Selenite Caves. Oh, Ruby goes on such an exciting adventure to the Selenite Caves, where she swims with beluga whales and meets the mermangels. It's so much fun. I had so much fun writing it. It was so easy to write. I wrote it in 30 days. It was easy peasy. In fact, I think I should write a follow-up book. And we should go back and visit all the Wildhearts again and see what they're up to now. Right, who should we meet next? Let's see who's next. I want to introduce you to Freddie. Freddie is a cheeky chappy and he's very popular. He's all about friends, fun and fart noises. He eats, sleeps and breathes football and doesn't pay any attention to what's going on at school. He makes the class laugh and he hates being told off, but he can't stop joking about. I always sometimes find that the children that want to make other people laugh are the saddest children inside. And they kind of paint on a smile like a clown does. Can you see yourself there in Freddie? Freddie is all about the fun and he brings a lot of laughter to the story, but there is a sadness with him. And he's super, super kind. He's super, super kind. Okay, so next up, I want to introduce you to Delta. Now, Delta's a little bit older and she loves fireflies and hates the rain. And her story is sad because her dad left her and she blames herself for that. And children often blame things on themselves when it's not their fault. It's really, 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 really horrible when bad things happen to you. And we blame ourselves and it's not our fault. She finds it hard to make friends and trust people. Well, you can see why, can't you, if her dad left? You know, our mums and dads are the people that we have our first relationships with. And she's often found with her arms folded, acting aloof and disinterested. So she kind of blocks people out with her body language, you know, like she folds her arms and she makes out that she's not really going to get involved or paying attention. And she doesn't really take part in any of the Wildheart activities or volunteer herself to help. She doesn't really want to get involved. She kind of puts herself on the edge of the group. Well, she's protecting herself. She's protecting herself from getting hurt, but she's so hurt by her dad leaving. And there are lots of Wildheart activities that they all get involved in together because they're all sort of they go around a campfire and they're all learning how to do different things and how to overcome their challenges. So it's quite good fun. I feel sad for Delta. I feel sad because when our family breaks up, it's just one of the deepest sadnesses that we ever face. Because our family are everything to us and it's where we come from. And I sometimes think people don't realise how that can really deeply affect people, you know? I definitely think it's a lot sadder than people realise. And I think lots of families or mums and dads break up or get divorced or separate. And, you know, because it happens a lot, we just kind of normalise it and go, oh, they got divorced But for the family, that's just devastating. It's devastating. And if you are listening and you can relate to Delta's story and your family have broken up, please go and seek out someone that you can talk to about that. The whole family needs to talk to someone because, it's a big thing. Okay, so now I want to introduce you to Harry. Harry Wildheart. Oh, sad little Harry. He was bullied at school because he loves dancing and hates football. And he feels left out because he isn't on the football team. He likes to escape from the taunting of the school playground into his books. So another bookworm. But also feeling like a lot of boys who don't like football feel like they don't belong, because I think football is probably it's a team sport, isn't it? And it brings boys together. So I wonder if you can relate to Harry. Or maybe you're a girl listening, you're not a boy, and you feel left out because, I don't know, you're not in the popular gang, or that kind of thing. So maybe you can relate to Harry. What do you think about Harry? Being bullied is very painful and it hurts a lot to be treated so badly by other human beings. And again, that needs looking at. That's like, when we have these wounds, like when you fall over and you graze your knee, you can't just put a plaster over those types of grazes and wounds. They need to be talked about and they need to be looked at, and someone needs to hear your story so that you can feel better. Don't stick a plaster over big wounds like that. That won't help you. Next up, we're going to meet Aurora. I love Aurora. She has her hair in wonky braids. Her braids are like wonky, and that really annoys Ruby. She wants her braids to be straight. And she wobbles her head as she chats away. She's very passionate. She loves to sing at the top of her voice. And literally, she is all talk. She just talks and talks and talks. Her words come out super fast and unfiltered. Ruby jokes and says, oh, she's got no filter. I wonder if you can buy one from Amazon. She hates uncomfortable silences. That's why she does all the talking, to fill up the silence. And she's very feisty and she is very protective over the quieter Wildhearts. So she's kind of like a big sisterly energy. She comes in and she tries to take care of people. So are you like that? Maybe you are a big sister or a big brother and you're protective over the people that you love. So that's Aurora. I do really love Aurora. She's quite funny too. So we've got 2 more Wildhearts to meet. Are you seeing yourself in them? What are you thinking? Are you thinking you want to discover more about them and explore their stories? The next Wildheart that we're going to meet is India. India's quite an interesting character. India enjoys yoga and she's a vegetarian. And she says she really cares about animals and the planet. She loves crystals and her favourite colour is turquoise. She wears a crystal. And she is devastated that her grandma died and she's fed up with too much schoolwork. She loves nature and she's helpful and kind. So maybe you can see yourself in India. And then last but not least is Gabe. Now, Gabe is the tallest Wildheart because he looks older than his years. And he tends to act like an adult and is more comfortable being in charge of the younger children. He's very sensible, reliable, and incredibly wise. But it's quite hard for him. He's very serious. It's hard for him to let go and have fun. He's too busy taking care of everyone. He loves his bed, but he doesn't like going to sleep. He doesn't like nighttime either. So you can see that all the Wildhearts have got quite a lot in common. They all feel different and left out. And I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit about each of their stories. They've all got something they're worried about. And when they find each other in the wilderness, they help each other to see that whatever they thought was mad, bad, or wrong with them was actually their uniqueness, their quirkiness, and part of their story. So was there a story that makes you want to learn more? If you'd like to follow their stories, you can pick up a copy of my book on Amazon. It's called Stuck Between Two Worlds. I'll put a link to it in the show notes for you. And if you want to get your hands on any of the helpful stuff I've mentioned today's episode, you'll find the show notes over on the website, smileyforlife.com/TMS71, T for Truly, M for Madly, and S for Smiley. I'm going to be back real soon with another fabulous episode. Next time, we're going to be making a remote control for your worries. Huh? Yeah, we really are going to make a remote control for your worries so you can feel better. I'm really excited to share that one with you. Bring your pens, bring your paper. Let's get creative. But before I go, I want to leave you with this thought. So we all have our stories to tell. And I think it's helpful not to judge our stories or make them wrong. And I think it's important to be kind to other people when they choose to share their stories with us. They're sharing a really, really soft, squishy part of them. A part of them that needs love and care and kindness. And when we have the courage to tell our stories to people that we trust and who treat them with kindness, we help other people see that they're not alone. It's not just them, that somebody gets it and somebody understands. And I really think that's what the other Wild Hearts wanted you to know today. Whatever your story is, whatever you're going through, you're not wrong, mad, bad or sad. You're a wonderful Wild Heart and you're fine just as you are. I'm glad that you've met them all. We're going to go now. I'm going to go off to the wilderness with them and have some rose petal tea. I wonder what that tastes like. I don't know if that would be nice. I do like a nice cup of tea though. So I'll go and put the kettle on. But until then, I'm sending you lots of smiliness. I'm your biggest cheerleader and I'm always, always on your team. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now. Take care of yourselves.
If you like that episode, remember to tell all your friends. Spread the smiles for miles and miles. Don't keep the secrets to yourself.